recently I was challenged because I've never held elected office before. And they said, Matt, come on, what makes you think you can administrate the city of Fort Wayne? You've never held elective office before. This is an administrative position that requires some talent. And I disagreed with him strongly, and I'll explain why. The mayor's office and mayoral leadership is not administrative. While you do have the need for fine administrators to run the city of Fort Wayne, the mayor is really about leadership, not administrative skills. In my estimation, the city of Fort Wayne has suffered through generation after generation of good administrators, but not good leaders. Now, the current administration and the preceding administration can disagree, and I'm sure that other mayors and their friends will disagree perhaps. That isn't the point. The point is we've had, in my estimation, a variety of navigators and no pilots. The city of Fort Wayne has an awful lot of ground to make up to other communities that have passed us by in the last 30 years. And the more time we waste bickering about whether or not the city of Fort Wayne should pay for a baseball stadium, for crying out loud, the more time we lose. Of course we shouldn't build a baseball stadium. If building a baseball stadium was a good idea, the private sector would have done it. If you look at any series of studies on baseball stadiums like the one being proposed, built by a government or by public funding, they're all failures. They're boondoggles. They don't result in adjacent economic growth. They result only in a very small amount of part-time, no-benefit jobs or career opportunities, if you want to call them that. But they almost always require subsequent additional public funding. Now, if you look at the examples of private sector-funded baseball stadiums or sports stadiums, those are enormously successful. Why? Because the private sector knows how to build it so it can be maintained well and be profitable. And they know how to run it so it will be profitable. It just strikes me as odd that if the private sector isn't willing to put their money up because they don't think it's a good idea, what makes the government think it's a good idea to use our money for it? In the end, at the end of the day, what I fear the most is that we're going to have a program that forces the poor and the middle class to pay for something that the wealthy aren't willing to pay for themselves. If they want a baseball stadium in downtown Fort Wayne, the government would, that is to say the city, the mayor's office, should bend over backwards to help them. Infrastructure, zoning, expedited approval processes. I mean, there are a lot of things the government can do to help, but it shouldn't pay for the daggone thing. I'm very frustrated about that whole thing.